Hey, Jasmine. It's great to see you in our Zoom space.
Wonderful to see you too.
Okay, so for the purposes of this Q&A video about the different groundwork session formats, today I will be the question answerer, and you will be the person who asks the questions about the format and the session. So because I have the mic and because we're starting it off that way, we'll just say that my name is Ivy Young, she, her pronouns. I am a fair-skinned, middle-aged, femme-presenting woman. My hair is pulled back, I have dark eyes, and I'm wearing earbuds and a blue top. My background is blurry.
And I am Jasmine Huff. I'm the Learning and Engagement Manager here at the National Guild for Community Arts Education. I use she, her pronouns. I am a brown, Black woman with dark black hair, which is pulled back, red lipstick or pinkish lipstick I'm really happy about. And I'm wearing a black top. And my background is also blurred.
Wonderful. Welcome, Jasmine. And thank you for naming that we're from the National Guild. So today we're going to talk about Real Talk Salons. What are they? So I know that you have a lot of questions ready to go.
Well, that's the first one. So what will this synchronous format for Real Talks be? And describe that adjective to the folks listening.
Yeah, so synchronous is a way of saying that they'll be happening live. So folks who participate and come in as registrants, as the audience, will be watching what happens in real time. So they're not pre-recorded. And the idea with Real Talk Salons is that this is an opportunity to hear true stories from the field about working in a pandemic in a way that centers community. So what have people been doing to meet their communities where they are in the arts education work that they do?
So tell me, I see, I mean, you know me, I know this. I see 75 to 90 minutes listed when I look on the website under Real Talk Salons. Could you tell me what that means? Do I need to propose something that long?
Okay, great question, Jasmine. So yeah, there is a time frame between 75 and 90 minutes to be determined. Who will determine how long that session is really part of the curation team. That's the work of the Groundwork advisors in collaboration with the team of reviewers who come together to look at the 2-minute pitch demo videos. Each person who submits to the Real Talk Salon is just demoing a piece of their story that they want to share through the Real Talk about their community embedded practice. Now, whoever gets invited based on that 2-minute demo does not have to curate what happens in 75, 80, 90 minutes. They don't get to decide how long it is, nor do they have to worry about programming for the whole thing. This is really an opportunity for the person who submits to tell their story. So how they tell their story or the length of time is really, again, it's curated by the Groundwork advisors with advice from the review committee. And it could be that the story that's demoed and submitted is so powerful, so impactful, has so many layers and so much richness that really we could spend the whole 75 or 90 minutes just talking about that particular story of that program or that practice that took place in community. And it would feel more like an interview, hopefully with like someone like Oprah, you know, where you just really get in and you feel like you understand that person's humanity. And participants, registrants who come to the gathering also have a chance for the Q&A with that storyteller. Or it could be a story that you pitch in your 2 minutes that actually relates to a number of other stories that we've received. And then the format would change. It could be where 2 or 3 different people tell their stories of community embedded practice, facilitated by a moderator. Again, this hopefully godlike facilitator who can come in and really weave those stories together and bring everyone out. In which case the proposer would really have about 10 minutes of uninterrupted, I'm going to tell the field my story about this practice. And there will again be time with Q&A with the audience, but really the proposer does not have to worry about who the other panelists would be, who the other storytellers are. That's the advisors and the review committee, or nor do they have to worry about exactly what happens in 75 to 90 minutes. Really, they get to think about focusing on the 10 minutes of uninterrupted storytelling. Is that more clear?
Yes, and so I, as a hypothetical presenter, I have to just be concerned with telling the best story I can, and the review committee and the folks at the Guild will be responsive to the stories that are heard and think about various ways to properly curate so that my hypothetical story is well received and well understood.
Right,
So that's
and
exciting.
100%. And also like how that relates to the practice of the field, because we know that there are so many stories that need to be told and also connections that can be made.
Exactly. So speaking of connections, could you explain community embedded work to me? You know,
Yeah.
how do I know if I qualify?
All right, so I think what I'm going to do is actually share my screen with you, because this is a document that helps us get at answering. And it's a document that's embedded throughout the proposal process. So this is the pillars of embedded community practice, and it was co-created by the Root Work program, the cohort that met around the Root Work program in collaboration with their 3 advisors, where they really studied and thought about over a period of 6 months, what does it mean to be in community practice where the work is defined and produced by, with, and for community? What does that really mean? We began talking about it as embedded practice. We could also imagine it as embodied practice, right? And so this document is here to help really get at what that means. And it's actually a whole series of questions that we as practitioners can be asking ourselves about community embedded practice around accountability, connectivity, structural equity, accessibility, and transparency. And there's also this sweet little extension behind that document, which you can link to through it, which unpacks it a little bit further and talks about what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like.
I love that. And also, I love that I can access it from the session proposal website.
You got it.
So tell me, this seems really thought out. I'm loving what I'm hearing. I feel connected to what I'm hearing. Can you tell me about the background and where this came from?
The Real Talk Salon and its design. Yeah, so this comes out of meeting with the advisors with Groundwork, 5 beautiful human beings who do practice community embedded work in all that they do. You can link to find out who these folks are through our website as well. And it comes out of this real deep desire for humans just to connect and tell real stories, to be authentic, to be transparent, to talk about the things that are messy or hard to do, because we have no answers in the pandemic. And honestly, when you're doing true community work, you also don't have all the answers. You embrace that we are answering these big questions together. So it becomes about the questions. So how do we come together as a national field to elevate these stories that are transparent, maybe a little bit messy, maybe don't have all the solutions, but they're raw and they're elegant, and we can learn from one another so that we can apply those learnings to our own practices at home. I hope I'm doing that justice.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love the space for, honesty and transparency that the Real Talk Salons will have. So to return to a previous question, why can't I select how much time I'd like to present?
Again, because it really comes down to the story that you're telling and the relationship of that story to the others who submit. So we're looking for the relationships, and then we want to cultivate that connection and those relationships through this format. So really, we're doing more of the curating with the intention of drawing these through lines for our audience and for one another.
And I'm going to add a question because I know we talked about it.
Absolutely.
Is it, you mentioned other stories. Can I submit a proposal with a friend or with a colleague?
You can, and we encourage you to do that. But it's important that you're telling the story from yourself, from your lived experience. And so if you're doing that in collaboration with a colleague, it should be a story that you share, not two different stories. If you have a colleague that you wish to present with and they have a different story, encourage that colleague to submit their own application for the Real Talk Salon. And then hopefully we'll connect your stories. We'll see that.
And what do I get when, what do I get?
What do you get? Yeah, great question.
What's the compensation for those?
So fair. So this is a learning gathering where we honor what is being taught and we also honor what is being learned. And so in the spirit of community, presenters will be invited to participate in the whole gathering as a compensated. And so that's what you get. You get a chance to really be in this learning community and give and take in that way, in the space where you're also a teacher. And you get your bio and name and headshot on the website. Maybe that's important for some people, but the recognition is important for us to give.
You get to hang out with me. That's what.
Yeah, get to hang out.
Well,
all right, Jasmine. Yeah, did we get all the questions?
We did.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.